Another Birds breakdown with the Philly sports guy here at the Chelsea Tavern. We got 2 wins to talk about. I'm sorry I couldn't make it last week. I was still on my way home from Buffalo, fighting a little bit of a cold. You guys might have seen me on the TV. It seemed like I got more airtime than Josh Allen did. It seemed like every time that they showed him, I was standing like this. It was a little cold and rainy up there, but that doesn't stop the Philly sports guy. And I tell you, I was with about 15,000 of our Eagles fans over there in Buffalo. We actually brought the house down. When all the Buffalo fans left, the Bills fans left, we had a ton of people out there and about going and still going with the, just waiting for the Eagles fans to, just the Eagles to come back out. There was Jaylen Mills running around the with. I got one of the kids got Alshon Jeffrey's glove. It was really fantastic stuff over there. A lot of things were happening and such. It was a great time had by all. I tell you, this week's Birds Breakdown, our bird's eye view, is brought to you by the Fans of Philly. Fans of Philly is a great company. They were the ones that kind of brought me up to, we took a bus trip up to Buffalo, stayed at Niagara, great view of the falls, and did our thing there. And they had a great pep rally, and then also a good tailgate before the game. It was an awesome trip. Joe and the crew over there run a fantastic setup. They also do they do a lot of Flyers trips. They do and the Phillies as well. So if you need to book a trip and you want to go away, Fans of Philly is definitely a way to go. They're going to Miami, so if you guys are if anybody's looking to go to Miami, I know he's got a couple of tickets left, so it's definitely one of those trips that you want to get to. Down there, I'll be down at the tailgate at the Fans of Philly. Like I said, it's a great job done by Joe and his crew over there. But let's get to it. We had 2 big wins since the last time you seen me. You guys didn't see me yesterday on top unless you saw my Facebook Live. I was doing my best to try to give you guys all the action. A lot of the action happened in the other end zone, so I couldn't really do much. You only got to see that 1 field goal from me, but that don't matter because we took it out a win, and a win's a win, even though it wasn't, may not have been our best second half. I tell you, the first half, though, it took them down to the last drive to even get above yardage. They wound up with 9 yards in the first half. It was like, I know people, Bears fans were coming up and passing me by saying, we only got 1 yard, 1 yard. A lot of that entire time. It was negative yardage most of the first half. I don't even understand how Trubisky still has a job. But Matt Nagy, he's a great coach. Yeah, not. But anyways, I'm not here to talk about the Bears. I'm here to talk about the Birds. And we're going to start it off with our Birds breakdown with the defensive stats. For the Bills game, Bills only rushed for 98 yards. 40 of them were by Josh Allen. So I tell you, they really blocked up the center. The defensive line came to play. They did their thing over there. For the Bears game, only 62 yards. They had 8 yards in the first half. All of them came on the very final drive of the first half. It was like Matt Nagy was trying to do whatever he can to get within positive yards. So it was one of those things that they definitely had. They had the thing going. The defensive line definitely came to play. The entire defense in a whole. Like I said, Trubisky had the happy feet through that first pass, 8 yards beyond the receiver. There really wasn't that close of a game. The second half, they kind of maybe let up a little bit, they were able to make a couple of adjustments to make those things kind of happen. So absolutely, they gained a couple of yards in the second half, but it wasn't enough. The Eagles came back and won that game without a problem. Receiving yards, 169 for the Bills. 88 yards came on 4 plays specific. 28, 21, 20, and 19 yards. Those are some big plays. Those are the big plays by the Bills. Same thing with the Bears. 125 yards receiving yards. But 83 came on 2 plays. You know the plays that I'm talking about. The one, Malcolm Jenkins bit a little bit and then got beat on the back end. That was not Mills' fault. I understand that everybody still likes to blame Mills. I tell you, Mills came to play those last 2 games. He's been itching to get out on the field. I tell you, my boy Mills has got it going on. He's probably our best cornerback right now. So everybody who had to complain about the fact that, oh, we don't even want the Green Goblin anymore, you guys are all wrong. He's our best cornerback, and that's what I'm talking about. So, both the 7 sacks within the last 2 games, 4 against the Bills. They also had 4 additional tackles for a loss. So that tells me that defensive line was there and stacked and had been playing the game right. Same thing with the Bears. 3 sacks, 2 tackles for a loss. You know, Bears couldn't do nothing. I mean, total yardage for the Bears was under 200 yards. That's a good day by the defense. Even though they made it close in the second half, I understand it wasn't really that close. When it came down to it, and I'll get to this in a little bit, Carson Wentz was able to end that and end anything else that the Bears and anybody had going for them. Takeaways, they had only 1 takeaway. We haven't seen an interception in a little while, since the Jets game. And that concerns me a little bit, but I know that Mills is going to get one. I love the fact that Maddox is back now and he's finally out of concussion protocol. I tell you, between the 2 of them and Darby not having to rely so much on the fact that he was everything. When Darby was the only one out there, of course he was going to be the one getting beat. But now he's got that help with Mills and Maddox. It's not going to be as detrimental for Darby. Of course, they're all going to get beat every once in a while. We're not going to stop every play. But when it had, the fact that we got our whole defense back, Jernigan's back, everybody's back again, it's going to make our defense a lot better. And trust me, we're going to need to rely on them. I'll get to that in a little bit. Points that we gave up, 27 points in 2 games. That is something that's a big deal. We were the 32nd team of our passing against the pass. You know what I'm talking about. We're 32nd pass before the Jets, 18th now. So our defense has really come up. We are ranked 12th in the league right now, entire defense. So that means the defensive line has started to come up to play. The defense, the cornerbacks have come up to play. The safeties have all gotten to it. We haven't had many mistakes anymore. That's a big deal. So when you can make that big of a jump in that short of a time, that means you're doing something right. Now, I understand we played the Jets, the Bills, and then, of course, the Bears. And their offenses aren't the best. But you can only play who you can play. So we're going to find out next week, or 2 weeks from now, exactly how this defense is. The fact that they get another extra couple of weeks of rest and they're going to be able to come out swinging against the Patriots, who, just in a matter of fact, Tom Brady, the only team he's got a losing record against is the Philadelphia Eagles. So don't worry, we're going to have it for Tom. But we're going to talk about that next week because we got a bye week this week. We're only going to talk about the wins this week since we've got a lot of stuff to go on about. Next, I want to talk about the offense. Against the Bills, of course it was windy, but they finally followed what I was talking about. Hand it to Howard. All he does is move people. It's all he does. It was amazing that they finally listened to me. And I wish they gave him that extra carry. They gave the last bunch of carries to Boston Scott. You know what? I appreciate the fact that they didn't get him hurt or nothing like that, because people get hurt at the end of the game and stuff. And we need Howard right now. I think he's by far our best running back, and he came to prove it. He's 4 yards short of 100 yards. And only 3 carries for Sanders for 74. You all saw him break that 65-yard. That was a great play. It was one of those things where I was on the other end zone. I wish he came running to me because I wanted him to leap into my arms, but that didn't happen. All I got was the Bills fan. I don't know if you watched when the Bills guy jumped in and did his Lambeau leap, knocked that Cheeto off of that guy's head. It was supposed to be a Buffalo win, but I don't think it looked more like a Cheeto to me, and then he came over and they're all right underneath me. And all I did was just shake my head because I knew that they weren't scoring much more after that. And they didn't really. It was one of those things where I was like, oh, no Bills fans get to touch this guy. This guy gets to go and do his thing. And I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to shake my head at him. and they didn't score much more after that. They did all their celebrating in that one touchdown, and that was really it for them. Anyways, we only rushed for 146 yards against the Bears. I tell you, I'm going to go down to the bottom of this. We scored 31 and 22, but the Bills have the third-ranked defense. They played. I was making jokes about it. You may have seen it. The Sister Mary of the Blind, Sister Mary of the Poor, Sister Mary Teresa. They were playing all those bad teams. That's why they're the third-ranked defense. They played another great team last week, the Washington Redskins, and held them up to nothing too. So, I mean, obviously, that's why they're the third-ranked defense. The Bears were the 7th-ranked defense when we played them. They dropped down to the 9th after playing us because we did run for 146 yards. Again, Howard Rush just carrying people. Every time he carries the ball, he's moving people. That's what I'm talking about. You want to keep handing the ball off to him and have him run. Is in between our tackles. That's where we are strongest, and that's where we move the line. And I tell you, Howard, every time he hits the line, he's blowing people up. He's moving 4 and 5 yards. He's the guy who gets the most yards after being touched. And it's one of those things that you can't teach. That's not one of those things that you can show somebody how to do. They got to just do it, and he's been doing it. He does it better than anybody else in the league, and it shows. Sanders only had yards. Carson Wentz had a few yards rushing. It was 146 yards for the day. It wasn't too bad. Like I said, this is the 7th-ranked defense, and Khalil Mac. I'm going to get to that in a little bit. How the Rook actually did a fantastic job against him. Khalil Mac only had 4 tackles. Only one of them was for a loss and 0 sacks. That's a big deal for a rookie to kind of take hold. But I'm going to get to that in a little bit. The time of possession. That's what happens when you run the ball. Their offense cannot get on the field. I tell you, I don't understand. I guess they finally get it now. I guess they finally get it. 35 minutes of time of possession. That's a whole 10-minute difference. It's 36. It's 12 minutes difference when the Bills couldn't hold the ball. They can't try to do anything if they ain't got the ball. And that's one of the big deals. It's going to be a very big deal as we move forward, especially against Patriots. We need to keep the ball out of Tom Brady's hand. And this defense is a strong defense, but you can see they ain't as strong as they thought they were because they were playing Sister Mary the Blind, Sister Mary the Poor. When they actually went up against somebody who actually could run the ball and could pass the ball, they didn't do so hot. And they got 37 points scored against them last night. So we can thank the Ravens for that one. They primed them up, and now they're on their bye week too. So we're both sharing a bye, and then they got to come to Philadelphia. And they haven't been to Philadelphia in 8 years. And the last time they came here, I think they beat us, but it was only by a couple of points. They were like a 26-point favorite against Andy Reid's team, and we almost beat them. I think it was a field goal at the end of the game that finally gave that one up. But anyways, like I said, 26-point spread. I know I won a couple of shekels on that game, because there was no way that the Patriots were going to beat us by 26, but they were blowing everybody else out before that game happened. And then we started the blueprint on how you beat the Patriots. And they wound up going 16-0, but they wound up losing in the Super Bowl to an NFC East team, the Giants, who actually took our playbook to a T. And that was how the big gap finally won his Super Bowl ring. Now he gets to go dance with the stars and be on, Good Morning America or with Kathy Lee, whoever he is, Strahan, whatever. Yeah, whatever. Fix the gap. Anyways, one giveaway for the Buffalo Bills. That was that muffed punt. It happened. And since then, Clement ain't been back in. I don't know that he's even going to be playing again for the rest of this season. It was one of those things. He probably shouldn't have even gone. The punts were getting very blown all over the place. So I don't know why he even went after it. Like I said, they lost that ball. They only wound up kicking a field goal after that. So it wasn't that big of a deal. And it didn't really make a difference at that point in the game. But it was one of the things that happened. That was our giveaway. And we didn't have any giveaways for there. And like I said, 31, 53 points in the last 2 weeks. That's actually something that's worthwhile talking about. Real quick, before I get to my next bit, I want to let everybody know we still have tickets available for the Washington trip. We're leaving from Ridley Park. So everybody from Delaware County, if you want to come to this trip, you go to Eventbrite, put in the Philly Sports Guy, or go to my Facebook page, and you can buy tickets right there. You can sell them on Eventbrite, or come find me. I am all over the place. If you saw, I was up at Phoenixville earlier this week on Saturday, and then I went and did another thing over in Ridley Park, and then I went to announce Looks That Kill over at Tom and Jerry's. So it's not going to be hard to find me, and if you don't find me in any of those places, come see me at a game. If you want to get a ticket, it's easy enough to do. $3, get your transportation, tailgate, all the food and drink that you could do. Water, beer, whatever it is you're drinking, I got it. It's on me, and a couple of other special things that are going to be happening that day. Definitely make sure to get your tickets. I only got a few more available, so definitely you want to get them before I'm sold out. Anyways, let's get to the next bit. I've given out game balls. I started a whole new thing now. I want to give out game balls because I want to talk about the good things that happened. Jordan Howard. I've been only talking about this since week 1. We got to use him. Ground and pound. That has got to be the name of our game. We got to move the ball on the when somebody, he blows up the line and moves it 4 and 5 yards ahead. Like I said, between the tackles is our strength. That's the one huge strength that we've got. I don't understand why he didn't go to it before, but maybe he got the memo. Maybe he started watching these podcasts. Maybe he started to see, that, hey, the Philly Sports Guy is right. We run the ball, and that's how we do. And now, and look at that. 2 big wins since that moment. Even against the Cowboys, when nothing else seemed to be going right, Jordan Howard was moving the pile and just moving the pile and just moving the pile. I don't understand why he didn't go to it then. Maybe he was too far behind. But now, this is what I'm talking about. This is going to be the rest of our season. Jordan Howard gets a game ball from Mac Ertz. I know that he couldn't do much in Buffalo. They triple-teamed him a lot of the time. I thought that it was a big joke. That's why Dallas Goedert seemed to be getting a lot more of the throws. Jeffries, he dropped 2 balls in that. Dropped 3 balls in the last game. I'll get to that in a few minutes. But he actually had a few yards, whatever. But anyway, Ertz with 103 yards. He was just about a third of the offense against the Bears. They just didn't have an answer for him. Between him and Goddard, I think that they had 150 yards between them. And that's something they just can't beat, the double tight ends. You know who had really good 2 tight end sets? The Patriots. A couple of years ago, they won a Super Bowl with it, and then the guy wound up having to kill somebody, and he wound up dying in jail. We're not going to talk about the Patriots anymore either. But that 2 tight end sets are the way to go. And I'm a big fan of 2 running back, 2 tight ends, 1 wide receiver. And I think we're going to be doing a lot of that because they can't compete against it. There's no way. The wheel route works all the time. I know that they don't like to go to it all the time. Receiver screen, that doesn't seem to work. It's worked 1 time. The last 9 times they've tried it. I don't understand why they keep going to that one. But the wheel route works all the time. So that's what I'm talking about. Dillard, the rookie, going up the first 2 starts. He's only given up 1 sack. 1 sack in the first 2 starts. And the last start was against Khalil Mac. Khalil Mac, the guy that had got 2 first-round picks given up for him by the Bears. The reason why the Bears are a 7th best defense when they played against us. But you notice Khalil Mack never gets his name mentioned very much when he's playing against the Eagles. Jason Peters stifled him both games that they played, including the playoff game last year with the double doink. Thanks again, Cody Parkey, for kicking another one for the Birds. Just wanted to throw that into all the Bears fans that are watching because I know I busted your balls a little bit while we were out there at the game before we walked in there. And I did get to talk to Mike Ditka lookalike. He was a funny one. Look for that tomorrow when I go to put that up there. Anyways, Wentz. Now, I know I've heard a couple of things. Like, oh, Wentz isn't doing his job. I tell you, it's hard to do things when you got drops. You don't trust half of his receivers. I get it. It's like you got the one guy out there, Hollins, who he goes out there, he runs routes. If he's not getting holding calls against them when they're running the ball, because ultimately he doesn't even look his way. He doesn't trust him. Again, the drops. Jeffries, the same problem. We're going to get to Jeffries in a few minutes because Again, the drops are starting to become a little bit of an issue, but this is for game balls. I like Wentz the last 2 games against the Bills and against the Bears. Both of them, 8-minute plus drives to end the game. Those are the things that you need to do to end games. Make sure that you're moving the chains, getting those first downs, moving the chains, getting those first downs. I love saying it over and over again so that all the Bears fans, I was saying it all day long, all the Bears fans were getting upset. Move the chains, first down. I love saying that all day long because that's how you win games. And that's how we ended both of these games. 8-minute plus drives, moving the chains, 12, 13 play drives. That's how you win a game. And at the end, kicking the field goal to make it 8 points so that everybody won their bet. So yeah, everybody got the cover. So anybody who bet the Eagles did win a couple of pennies on that. I'm sure you guys did. Brandon Graham. I know that he said he was going to get 10 sacks. He is well on his way. Again, the last 2 games, 2 sacks and 3 more tackles for a loss in the last 2 games. The guy has been a beast. He's definitely earning his paycheck. Beyond the fact that he's gotten sacks in just about every game he's gone, he's definitely going to eclipse 10 this year. I expect that he's going to get 14 or 15, especially because we go up against a couple of the end of the season. We have a couple of games ahead of us, and it's going to be important for him to come really prepared. All you got to do is hit Tom once or twice, and Tom is a different quarterback, and they got to have to bring it against Tom. I would be blitzing a lot against Tom. Don't want to give him the time. You want to make him do a lot of fast timing routes and make sure that these guys are doing press coverage. So you want to press and pound, press and pound. You want to go full force at Tom Brady and make sure, because he don't like getting hit. He's 43 years old. He's only a couple of years younger than me. I know I don't like getting hit. I'm sure he don't like getting hit either. And the fact he's in a lot better shape than I am doesn't matter. You don't like getting hit. And he showed it yesterday. He didn't like getting hit. And what happens when he get hit? He wants to throw the ball fast. Not the same quarterback that he was. And then he was crying to the refs. Oh, man. Oh, I didn't throw that away. Oh, the receiver made the wrong turn. Doesn't matter. He's a bad quarterback when he's rushed and he doesn't like, when he's afraid. And that's what happens. He's 43 years old. He don't want to have a season, a career-ending injury. And so he throws the ball away or goes down real fast. That's not something that we can take advantage of that, and we're going to have to. That's something that they're going to have to start to scheme and plan for now. Anyways, the Green Goblin is my last game ball. I tell you, since he's been back, not only has he fired up all the cornerbacks, they showed a big thing on ESPN when he was talking, saying how he was firing up all the guys. And they had to bleep out some of the words. He was using the curse words. I can't use the curse words because I try to be watching, but he could use the curse words because he's talking to all the grown men. And he stood every other one of those cornerbacks up. And since then, they ain't done nothing. I mean, we already saw there was no passing yards at all. Under 200 yards passing in both of those games. That's a big deal. I know the quarterbacks ain't the best, but you can only play against the quarterbacks you got. And they're going to need to be fired up in 2 weeks to play against the Patriots. Patriots are 8-1. Miami's all excited now because they won their first game, and they're the only team that's ever been undefeated throughout the entire season. They got to worry about the 49ers. 49ers ain't playing nobody yet, but that doesn't matter either. We ain't talking about them. Those were my game balls for the day, for the last 2 games. I tell you, I personally was at both games. Like I said, you might have seen me at the Bills game. I was excited. I didn't sit down. I don't sit down for any one of these games. I was up for the entire Bears game, too. You didn't see, I wasn't in the front row, so you didn't get the TV on me. But that doesn't mean they didn't hear me on the field, and everybody around me heard me, because I didn't shut up the entire time. My hands are still chapped from all the clapping that I did, and you can hear it in my voice that I don't stop. I don't stop the entire game, all day. I bring every play of every game, all day, and gets a big hand pound from me as they're leaving the stadium because I want to make sure to touch everybody's hand and give them congratulations for doing their part and coming to the link, especially because we ain't been home in a month. So, but now we're home all month long. Now we get to stay home. So that's what I like. I'm going to be at the next game that we go away. That's in Miami. Like I said, if you need tickets, call fansofphilly.com. They're a great organization. He's got a couple of tickets left, so you want to get them before they're sold out. He's got the plane tickets and everything all worked out. All the accommodations. He's got the tailgate. He's got the party on Saturday night. It's going to be a fantastic time, and we're going to be in Miami. It's already getting cold outside. Miami don't get cold. And last time I was there, I was only there 16 years ago. I didn't go 8 years ago. 16 years ago, we had the three-headed monster. And I tell you, it was one of those things. They started to play the Rockies. I know that people that are watching that said that were down there in the Miami, they started to play the Rockies song. They had to turn the Rockies song off because we had it going on. It was one of those things where it was like, it was full, 25,000 Eagles fans there. We take over the stadium. It's something that's going to happen again. If you've never been to an away game, this is definitely an away game to go to. It's after Thanksgiving. You eat your turkey at home, and then you fly to Miami on the Friday, and you get to work off that turkey in the sun on the beach, doing a dance down at South Beach, just like I'm going to be doing. And like I said, we're going to be eagled up all weekend long. We'll take over that entire area. Fort Lauderdale, Miami Beach, we're going to be there. And like it says, we're going to bring it to that stadium, and we're going to get ourselves ready. So because once we get there and we put our imprint there, we're going to be back there again in February. Mark my words. I'll talk about that in a little bit too.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the other things. What's going on? Alshon's hands. Not quite sure what's going on. They might be chapped his mind. He might not be using the right stickum anymore. I'm not exactly sure what's going on with Alshon. He's dropping those balls. 3 drops. All three were third down drops. It's just, I don't understand what's going on. I don't know if it's if it's afraid of getting hurt, if he's got a little get up in his step. Something might be happening there. We're going to need him to start to pick it up. I'm hoping that he gets the rest that he needs. So because we're going to need him, obviously, because my second one is, I wrote this a little earlier today, and of course, at 5 o'clock, I got the text message saying Deshaun Jackson's out. He texted me personally and said, hey, listen, he apologizes. He should have gotten the surgery around week 1. He thought he could do it. He can't do it. The whole muscle's torn off now. He's got to get the surgery. He may be back for the NFC Championship game if we make it that far. I think that we're going to. I won't tell you how I think about that yet, because I'll talk about that after all this stuff. But I wish he would have listened to me in the first place. I knew that there was something going on. You got to get the surgery. It would have been 6 to 8 weeks at that point. He'd have been coming back for the Patriots or for the Seattle. He didn't now. Now he's going to be out for probably what looks like the rest of the season. And it's not going to be as simple for him to come back from that, because you use a lot of your stomach muscles when you're running, and he's a speed demon. I mean, I was looking at some of the next-gen stats the NFL.com put up there, and I think he's number 7 with speed that he has in terms of the fastest routes or the fastest times clocked all season long by everybody. And he was like number 7 with 22.6 miles per hour. So at 22.6 miles an hour, I don't know of many other people. Usain Bolt runs at like 23 miles an hour. So 22.6 is pretty fast. Same thing with everybody else who was above. 23.2 was the highest. So when you have something like that kind of put together and have that type of speed demon on there, I mean, it was definitely an asset for him to be there. It's a shame that it happened this way. I hate to say I told you so, Deshaun, but I told you so, Deshaun. Yeah, I wish you would have gotten the surgery earlier, but we can't cry over spilled milk now. It's time to be able to move on and move forward from that. Doug, your play calling, especially in the second half, it's a little sketch. First off, take that receiver screen out of the playbook. It worked one time, and you went back to it 7 or 8 times. You know what happened all those 7 or 8 times? There have been tackles for losses. So it's time to pull that play from the playbook. I don't understand why you continue to go to it. I know that you're relying on receivers to make a block, but these receivers don't make a block. You know, it's like Hollins likes to tackle. He don't like the block. So I don't know why you continue to put them out there, throw it to either Sanders or whatever, and then they get blown up behind the line of scrimmage. because somebody comes running right in after him because they've seen the play already. Take it out of the playbook. It's time for that to go. A couple of other plays I really do not understand. It's gonna go to my next one. I don't understand. I appreciate it. Darren Sproles, you've had a fantastic career. You have been fantastic for the Eagles. I'm sorry though, it's time for you to just step aside. Yeah, it's time for you to retire. It's like you can catch the ball on punt returns, and I understand that that's like a big deal where I guess nobody else can seem to catch it. And really, if that's what your role is on the team, stick with that as your role. You should not be out there anymore as a running back. I tell you, I wondered why he put you out there like it was going to be your thing. At two running plays to you, and then the third pass play went off your hands because really he was throwing to somebody who should have been a little taller. So realistically, I appreciate everything that you have done for us. I know that you are a great player and probably will one day be in the Hall of Fame. I apologize that it's not working out anymore, but you're 36 years old. It's time to go up into the booth and start reporting and start calling these games rather than being in them. It's time for you to retire. I'm sorry. It's just I don't like seeing you out there anymore. And I'm only calling the spade a spade. You know what I mean? I love the Eagles. I can't stand it when you're out there playing running back anymore. And I hope and pray that you could prove me wrong at one point. But I would rather you not. I'd rather stick with the two young that's 24 years old, one that's 21 years old. Let's give the load to them. You've had your time in the sun. It's time for you to move on. Stick with the punt returns. At least, like I said, you can catch the ball great. You want to try to run one back, prove something to us real fast that you can still got a little speed in that, because that's a main thing. We had somebody else try to catch it, and they didn't catch him. Boston Scott did a little bit. You know what I mean? I like Boston Scott too. He's another fine running back. He only gets the ass end carries of the game, so that I get it. They're keeping him fresh just in case somebody gets hurt. It's time to move him up to number 3. I'm sorry. It's time for you to go, Sproles. Sanders, on your kickoffs. I love you as a receiver. I love you even more as a running back. You finally started to figure out. Hit the hole. Hit the hole. Hit the hole. Stop using the dancing feet. Stop trying to make that extra juke. Hit the hole, and you start getting through. We saw it against the Bills. You hit the hole. 65 yards later, they're congratulating you in the end zone. So, obviously, you've worked that part out. I don't know what you're doing on kickoffs, though. It's like you're always a little funny on that part. And I get it. When the ball's kicked to the goal line, you got to make a decision on whether you want to try to let it go or not let it go. But you're going to have to start making better decisions, because I tell you, you run another kickback to the 14-yard line and then fall or get tackled, and it doesn't help us, especially when you're going like this and it's 25 yards. I know that it's got to get into the end zone, and every kickoff's a little funny. I know that they're deliberately getting short to you now. So it's one of those things that you got to figure it out a little bit better, or put Boston Scott back there. You're much more important to us as a running back and a receiver in the backfield than anything else. What's going on with these kickoffs, or let Boston Scott do it, because I don't like you doing it anymore. I find that you're having more and more problems. I watched it happen against the Bills. I watched it happen twice against the Bears. It's been a pattern. When you start seeing it once, maybe it's a mistake. Twice, it's a problem. Third, nobody anymore. So now we got to figure out something else, because they're going to start to use that against us. And I don't like when they're using a guy who's much more important to me in the backfield that they're using on special teams. Maybe it's time to put Boston Scott back there and have him work it out. He can catch the ball pretty well too.
Go Giants.
There we go. That's our fearless owner of the Chelsea Tavern, making sure that he's putting in his root for the Giants tonight against the stinking Cowboys, because we all know that Dallas sucks. That's right, Dallas sucks. Anyways, the last thing I wanted to talk about tonight is the red zone efficiency. Now, since the Jets game, where we only went 3 for 4, we have gone 8 for 14. It's 57% efficiency. That is we should be around 75% with the red zone efficiency. Now, that only for touchdowns. That doesn't include the field goals. But instead of it being 6-0, it really should have been 13, 14-0. I know that the wind was a little bit of a factor on those extra points, but from that, from that distance, so they should have been both extra points, and they should have scored the touchdowns. That goes back to point number 3 with Doug's play calling. That Doug got a little too cute. Yeah, when it's first and goal at the 3-yard line, and he decides not to run the ball again. Ground and pound between the tackles. That's our best spot right there. I don't understand why he didn't do it, but now it's okay. So on second down, we didn't run the ball. On third down, we didn't run the ball. I mean, it's just what are you doing? What are you doing? It's time to start figuring that. Stop getting cute. We pound it into the end zone. We use our strengths. Every time we want to get a 3rd and 1, what do? We sneak it. We know how far we sneak it? 2, maybe 3 yards. Every time. Every time they stack the line in front of us, and we still move it 2 and 3 yards. Maybe that tells you that our offensive line is much stronger than their defensive line. And it happens all the time. Do what we do best. Do what we do best. Stop trying to say Philly for the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? No, you don't need to be cute in the regular season. These teams aren't that good, especially in the spots where we can blow them past. We can just blow up those lines. And you watched it. It was a long one on that 3rd and 1. And he gained like 3 yards on that play. It was just a quarterback sneak. Those are the things. And it seems like every quarterback sneak, we get that first down. I haven't seen him get stopped not one time on a quarterback sneak. So if the quarterback sneaks are working that well, and the running game seems to be working that well, why would you vary from that? It's too predictable. Fine, make them stop us. They ain't stopped us yet, so keep going to it. Keep going to that well. Like the same with the wheel route. Hey, the wheel route, they ain't stopped it yet, so why not keep going to it? Go back to those plays instead of that wide receiver screen that you love for some reason. That play sucks. PU. It never works. It worked one time against a defense. It went for some yardage, and it didn't work. That's the same thing with that reverse that what name seems to get all the time. Aguilar. That play don't work anymore either because they've seen it work. All right, it worked the one time. Now when he goes and runs, somebody's on him, and they make sure to stop him right there. So the wide receiver screen don't work. The play that work, north and south. Every time that we have a big play running, it's between the tackles. It's never on the outside. On the outside's the wheel route. That's where we pass the ball. You pass the ball on the outsides, you run the ball on the insides. Doug, I don't get paid enough to coach. You do get paid enough to coach this team. If I see these things, I'm sure you got to see them. I don't care that we seem predictable anymore. You know what I like to predict? Winning. That's what I like to predict. I like this when we score touchdowns. That matters to me. And when you do those things and you're consistent about them all the time and you're trying to make them stop you, when you put 8 men in the box to try to stop a run game, and we still have Howard blowing people up, then the passing game, it won't matter. It won't matter. We only have 1 or 2 receivers that we throw the ball to because it's going to be at that point, we're going to be running for 200 yards like Baltimore does. And they got like 200 yards a game they rush. 200 yards a game. Last time I checked, they were like 7-2. So that's a good team running the ball. Yeah, maybe, just maybe, that's the team that we should be. Especially since we don't have a burner going down the field anymore. And since you don't like to use what's it? I want to say it's Hall, but I think I'm wrong about that. That one receiver was fantastic in the preseason and was great, and we never want to use him. He's dressed every game, but he never makes it for a play in the game. I don't understand why. We'll have Hollins out there. Well, like I said, he gets holding calls. So, because he doesn't like to block, he likes to tackle. He said that earlier in the year. I'm going to hold that against him. Whiteside, he's been out there for 3 or 4 plays. Again, doesn't even get a sniff from Carson Wentz. It's time to start putting out receivers that can work. So, talking about receivers that could work. I know that everybody's a little upset about Gordon. I tell you, Josh Gordon hasn't been good since he smoked pot. So he's not as good anymore. I don't know what happened, what's going on in his head. I know that Seattle they'll have him score a touchdown or two. But I tell you, the Patriots have been good for a very long time. Belichick don't like getting rid of people that are good. And it doesn't matter. He makes them work within the system. I tell you, they got rid of him. That's saying something. Seattle picked him up. They needed a little bit of help at wide receiver. We need a little help at wide receiver. Why not do it? Same thing with Antonio Brown. Antonio Brown is a good receiver. Now, he ain't played all season long. I'm sure he's still in great shape. I'm sure whatever. Do we want to deal with the feedback that comes from that? Now, I understand that he's a football player, and we need him for football stuff, and you want to have him for that. But there's a whole other story that comes with this. I understand when Michael Vick came here, every person who owned a pet said something about it. You know what I mean? And it was, we won't love the Eagles anymore. I don't care about the Eagles, whatever. I know the day he came in for Cobb, because Cobb was scared, for deer in headlights, and he came in there and they won that game. All of a sudden, about the dogs. I understand that dogs are a big deal, and Vic paid his price. And I tell you, there's not many people that I have a lot of respect for people, and I like giving people a second chance. He was somebody who really took advantage of his second chance and earned the respect of me and a lot of the people in the NFL. I feel like he's paid his society. Brown, I don't know about yet. You know what I mean? Does he deserve a second chance? Probably. You know what I mean? I don't know all the details about it. I know that cancers in the locker room are a big deal. They took out a big knife to cut out the last cancer that they had. They did all those talking, all the bapping behind closed doors to do all that type of stuff. And they took out the knife. They had a team meeting. They cut out that cancer, and they've won 2 games since then. So those are the types of things that are big deals. Bringing somebody in like Brown could do a couple of different things, and I would rather not. Now, does that mean, what are we going to do about a receiver? Receivers aren't, they don't fall off of trees. We're not going to be able to find one in free agency. They ain't out there. So I think you deal with what we got. I think that you have to do 2 tight end, 2 running back sets. Those are 12, the 12-man sets, 13-man sets. So one with 1 receiver going, and what doesn't matter whether it's Jeffrey or Aguilar, but you got the 2 running backs and the 2 tight ends, and you just use your offense that way, and you do more of a ground and pound wheel routes on both sides. Like I said, if for the 65-yard run that he did against the Bills, Howard was the fullback in there, and he blew up that one linebacker to open that hole big enough for my big truck to get through there. So if my truck could fit through that, I know that Sanders, who's much smaller than my truck, could definitely get through it. And he did, and he ran for 65 yards. That was all done by Jordan Howard going up and blowing up that line. That's the only way that we're going to be able to win these games, and it's going to be important. We're going to need to have the time. The time of possession is going to be a very big deal about that. And we need to be able to keep the ball out of the opponent's offensive hands. We got to keep it out of their hands, and we just got to ground and pound, ground and pound, ground and pound. Those are the things that are going to win these games. We got a couple of big games coming up. They're both at home. We got the Patriots in 2 weeks, Seattle in 3 weeks. Seattle has had our number for a long time. Last Seattle game, it was 49-0. I stayed for every play of that game, and Seattle spanked us 49-0. It started to snow at the end of the game, and as I came walking out, my truck got broken into. So I had a banner day that entire day. So trust me, I would love beating Seattle. I loved even better beating the Patriots. So the fact that they lost last night, it doesn't bode well for us. I know that Belichick loves to make sure that his guys play perfect games. He don't like losing 2 games in a row. However, the last time he lost 2 games in a row was against the Philadelphia Eagles and Chip Kelly. Excuse me. And Chip Kelly. Now, I think personally, Belichick had a little thing for Chip Kelly, and he threw that game. I can't prove it, but I tell you, I don't say that about much. I know that Belichick does not do things like that very often. but he loves Chip Kelly. I believe he threw that game, and that was the last time that the Patriots lost 2 games in a row in Foxborough. So the fact that they lose 2 games in a row isn't a big deal. They were away against the Ravens. They're away against us. They have the bye week to prepare for us. I know in the Super Bowl, you remember last Super Bowl? I watched. Yeah, I remember. It sucked. It was terrible. It was 13-3. Before the game, you had Belichick and the Rams coach talking. And the Rams coach, well, I tell you, he had his tongue so far up Belichick's ass. It was disgusting to watch. I watched the thing. He's like, oh, Belichick, you're just a fantastic, you're a Hall of Fame coach. I tell you, he lost that game and just told Belichick. And Belichick knew it. You know what I mean? But when you watch Peterson talking to Belichick, you saw Belichick come up. I remember him saying, you watch it on all the things beforehand. He's like, man, I tried to find clips of your team behind, and I couldn't do it. You know what I mean? He was doing that to Peterson. Things matter. That's what I'm talking about. Peterson's already got a winning record against Belichick. So it's time for us to do it again. And I firmly believe that we could definitely win this game. That beating the Patriots is definitely within the cards. But you got to stick to the game plan. It's got to be a ground and pound. We got to be able to use Howard between the tackles, Sanders between the tackles and on the wheel routes. And then, like I said, a couple of 2 wide receiver sets, 1 wide receiver set. That's all we need. Because Ertz, they can't cover Ertz and Dallas Goedert. They can't cover Sanders and Ertz and Dallas Goedert. And definitely Jeffries, as long as he catches the ball, they'll all do fine. And that's how we're going to beat the Patriots. And a big defense. We're going to have a big defense come in. Like I said, I understand they got Sanu now. And they've got, they got rid of Gordon. They got, whatever. The white guy, not Amendola. Huh? Edelman, that's him. Thank you. Amendola's somewhere else now. But anyways, Edelman. And I know that he can get open all the time. He's a killer. He loves to get open, and he loves to kill the birds. But he's older too. You know what I mean? And like I said, our cornerbacks are getting healthy again. Maddox is back. Jaylen Mills, he's my man. He pointed me out at Buffalo before the game. He pointed me out. I was talking to somebody else. He made that guy turn around. He's like, hey, get his attention. He pointed me out and then gave me the mohawk look because we share the same color hair. That's what I'm talking about. I've been a big supporter of him the entire time. I tell you, since he's been back, our defense looks a lot different. I tell you, the leadership is now back on our defense, and it shows. And it shows. Malcolm Jenkins is good, but he couldn't do it by himself. He needed more guys to be able to help him. Jaylen Mills is one of these leaders that nobody ever spoke about beforehand, but now you actually see it happen live. And I tell you, since he's been back, it's only been good. He's got that pass deflection. He's got that closing speed. He's got the speed that we need. These burners aren't burning past us anymore. Even when that 53-yarder, he caught up and made the tackle. So, and that, like I said, that was because, again, Malcolm Jenkins got burnt because he bit a little bit. And he can't bite and then catch back up because he just doesn't have that speed. Mills has got the speed, though. So even though he got beat in the route, he was able to make the tackle. And they still scored a touchdown, but it still took them a few more plays to do it. More tick-tock, tick-tock, tick-tock off the clock. And that's what matters when you're doing it. That's what's going to win games. It's little plays like that are going to matter the most. And that's how you lead by example. And that's how you go to do it. Anyways, guys, I've spoken long enough. I probably spent about an hour's worth of your time. Thank you, everybody, for joining me. Thank you, everybody here at the Chelsea Tavern. Make sure you guys come out and see me next time. I'm here every Monday night. We start the show at 6:30, but I'm here at 5 o'clock. So if you want to come talk birds, private screen, just hear me talk like a normal, rational person, I can definitely do that for you. And don't forget, I got my play. If you want to come to the Washington Redskins game, you can spend the whole day with me. You get to see what it is, what it's like with me at the game. Because I don't sit down, I don't shut up the entire game. And like I said, when I ain't talking or screaming, I'm clapping. And I don't know if you can, they clap really loud. If you want to get a ticket, make sure, find me on Facebook or go to Eventbrite, find the Philly Sports Guy and buy your ticket. I only got a few more left. We got a whole bunch of people going to this game, so you definitely don't want to miss it. All right, E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles! Oh yeah! Oh yeah! Go Birds!
Sounds like you got a whole room full of people.